Hey everyone and welcome to today's episode. Our today's guest is going to be the drummer of a German dark metal band Nachtblut Skoll, and we will be speaking about the band's latest release, which is actually out today, October 2nd, via Napalm Records, so you make sure to check it out. And as always, before we start, I'd like to invite you to become part of the conversation, join the Metal Pilgrim community on YouTube, Instagram, or wherever you hang out to stay tuned with the updates. Here you go. Hey Skoll, how's it going, man?
Sorry. Everything's cool, and you?
I'm good. All is good. It's been raining for the past couple of days here, so it really feels like summer is over.
I'm in Germany. No, it's just clouds and rain.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I just spoke to someone from Fintroll today, from Finland, and it seems like it's sunny and nice over there. But,
Yeah.
you never know. Absolutely. So, how are things in Germany? You said you're in Germany, right? I mean, with the pandemic and all that kind of stuff.
I would say pretty normal. We don't have that many. Or now the infections raising again, doing more tests, but it doesn't really affect everyday life. You have to wear a mask in public. But otherwise, I think people now get used to it.
Yeah.
If it comes to touring and shows, it's awful. 2020 is just a disappointment, nothing else.
Absolutely. I mean, the entire music industry, entertainment industry in general, is suffering. And for the genre like, metal in general, this is the livelihood, right? I mean, metal is all about real performance. It's not about internet stuff. I think you will agree with me on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely see it the same way. Like now there are like kind of alternatives. People or bands trying, seated concerts or like this car cinema theater thing, when they listen to a band on the radio actually. I don't get it, but I don't think that works. Not for metal, not for us. So.
Yeah. So speaking about Nachtblut, you would never do anything like online concerts or drive-in concerts or something like that. You don't consider this?
No, not really. Not at the moment. I mean, it always has been part of our shows to have a lot of interaction and movement on stage, in front of the stage. With stage diving, doing the mosh pit with fans, like that. And I don't get it, but this could be a cool experience, everyone is sitting, a bit of like Oktoberfest vibe, everyone is seated, having a beer in his hand, and then just watching, it's like, no, I'm not ready. You could play on a fun fair like this, but not on a metal show. Like,
not at all.
No. But to be fair, of course, if it's never going to be back to normal, we don't know. Never say never. This is 2020 taught us, but then of course we have to think about alternatives. But right now, go big, go home.
Absolutely. I mean, we just have to pray for the good outcome out of all of this, and that all of this will disappear sometime soon. Yeah, and we'll get back to normal lives.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. But the big news about Nachtblut. By the way, am I pronouncing it remotely correctly even?
Totally fine.
Oh, nice. I'll pretend that I speak German now. But yeah, you're about to release a new album, Vanitas, actually tomorrow via Napalm Records. Congrats on finishing up this one and on all of this. I was able to listen to the album, a bit earlier, and I say this is a very powerful record for anyone who hasn't heard that yet. But can you talk a bit, about the creative process behind it, how all of this came together into this one record?
I think we started thinking about a new record. It was like the last shows of our Apostasy tour. Getting a bit in the kind of a blues. What is next? Do another tour, or maybe you need a break, or is there a new record? And we felt like, no, it was really fun to do Apostasy. It was the first record we did where there wasn't like a big concept behind it, we just put out songs we liked. It didn't really matter if one has a black metal vibe, the other one sounds a bit more like AC/DC. And so I said, like, okay, it's fun. Let's do it again. Let's see what's happening. And of course, at some point, we got enough songs together, worked on it, and here we go, Vanitas.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So when did you start, like, actually recording it? Was it this year or a year before that?
No, luckily we recorded everything before the pandemic
Oh,
became here. I think the first time, like I said, the last shows were 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And you start gathering all the ideas and everything. Then Skoll is doing the demos, songwriting. Then we get those demos. We work on it pre-production wise, and we start recording in October 2019, and took us till spring 2020. All the mixes, mastering, and so on and so on. And luckily, everything before the pandemic, so didn't have any influence on that. Yeah.
So that's great that you actually were able to record it together, not just over the internet, and send each other parts and that's it all the time. So that's pretty cool. And talking about the concept, right? I mean, Nachtblut is famous for releasing concept records, more or less, right? Can you talk about what's the idea behind this album? What lies behind it?
Like I said, we just wanted to write songs we enjoy, and after that was done, we realized, okay, there's something above it, like maybe it's because of personal experience we had at that time. It's dealing with transience and mortality. I mean, this is a big theme Vanitas offers and is discussing. But I wouldn't say we stopped there. As always, we have songs with so many facets, like moral, there's like dictatorship, and knowledge, your point of view on the world and who is really in charge of that, So we didn't just stop by with mortality and death. It actually could have been a bit boring having 13 songs just about death.
I mean, that could work.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. But that Vanitas in general, for anyone who is not familiar with the concept or with the with the word itself, it is an art style which originated back in the 16th century, more or less. But the whole idea of the skull, of a human skull actually being as a centerpiece, was like basically a major point about it, right? And have you actually digged any inspiration in those 16th, 17th century paintings, like by Antonio de Pereda or who was the other one, Hammond Steenwijk, right? Was a big one on this one as well. Have they influenced your, obviously not lyrical wise or maybe, but the atmospherically what you've been doing on this record?
It did. I mean, like, even the Dance Macabre inspired us. We have a song that is dealing more or less with that. Vanitas, for example, that's definitely referred to that. And the artwork, if you see the artwork, we have this, I would say, typical Vanitas still life artwork in the cover. And as you said, I mentioned the skulls. We have like an hourglass and so on. A lot of symbolics that always have been present since the 16th century. And I don't want to spoil it. I think as a fan, it's always nice to get the details by yourself. So.
Yeah, absolutely, makes sense.
But there are the hints, there are the references. So
yeah, totally. Makes sense. And talking about the if we're talking about the inspirations behind the album and behind the texts and lyrics especially, were there any personal maybe influences, personal experiences that influenced this record? The reason I'm asking is very simple. The album is very atmospheric, right? And it looks like you guys put a lot of effort and personal touch into it, and I'm just curious, were there any personal events that shaped it?
Of course. All the songs have like a personal touch. Some more, some less. The last thing, I think yesterday we released Die Toten vergessen nicht, which is translated as The Dead Never Forget. And if you're familiar with the lyrics, you will realize it's describing a funeral and very personal song, like Because everyone, unfortunately, had to experience this already, losing a beloved person. And but there are others like, for example, Kinder, when it's about your point of view on the world and who's in charge of that. Of course, I mean, we're touring a lot. We're traveling different countries, and so sometimes you ask yourself, okay, this is how you see the world, really? Like, this is your perspective on everything. It's so different from what we see, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to criticize it or anything, but it's really interesting to acknowledge that also media or the whole culture, like, pointing out or shifting your point of view on things.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if you take the idea that all human beings are created equally, but then we are being our minds are being so twisted by anything, by the political influences, by environmental issues that are going on around us, that that's what separates us. And I totally agree with you. This is a very interesting concept. I mean, especially for a concept album like this, for an album like this. And musically speaking, if we're going deeper into the stuff that's been recorded so far, I mean, I would personally say, as I said, I've listened to the album in its entirety, but there was no really one song that I would say characterizes the album. I mean, you've released a couple of singles beforehand, and I mean, yes, they definitely belong to the album, but I cannot say that any of them actually characterizes it in any way, right? I mean, there are some clear influences of melodic death metal on one hand, but then there is like industrial stuff that I've heard there, and some electronic sounds appearing which you would not really expect at some point here. Has this been really done on purpose? I mean, I guess you kind of said that you put together everything you felt like, but it does look like this would cover much wider audiences than your previous records as well.
Well, first of all, I think that with Vanitas, yes, there is a lot of facets, a lot of variety on the album. But I think we managed even better than on Apostasy, that it has this homogeneous sound, like, otherwise, I didn't really think about it. Because I'm not a fan of label, like, oh, this is metal, this is, and then you all have those sub genres, like, oh, this is black metal, this is dark metal, this is gothic metal. Where do you draw the line? When is what,
Yeah.
And we said, like, okay, we want to have an 80s synthesizer sound on one song. Here we go. Why not? Who cares?
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. And so this is how we approach the thing. So didn't really think about, okay.
Yeah.
And if there is a lot of variety, then it's how it is. This is how we are,
This is pretty cool. This reminds me of what Lemmy used to say, of Motorhead, obviously, about what kind of music he plays. And he's like, I think I play rock and roll, but you can call it anything, heavy metal or thrash. I don't freaking care. All of this was rock and roll for him, and this is true. So I guess you could say that the band kind of grew into this sound that appears on this record, and put everything they had together, the soul of each member, I guess. But I mean, still, I would say that something has to influence you in some way. I mean, you have to draw the inspirations somewhere. I mean, you do live, in the world, right? Obviously. So, can you share any inspirations that actually, influenced the sound of this album the most? I mean, any particular bands or names you've been listening to, you personally and the band, all together?
Sound-wise, we were really happy with the Apostasy record, so we never changed the winning team. So we said, like, yeah, why should we now experiment and, I don't know, like, in detail or in major categories change it. As an influence, probably Rammstein.
Rammstein?
Never heard that from a German guy, probably, before.
Yeah.
There are so many, and black metal had always been an influence for every band member. But then we're for individuals. For me, if I would turn on music right now, probably would be Ghost we're listening to. I know that Askarot is a huge Cradle of Filth fan, more of the older albums, but definitely have a influence. So it's really hard to pick. Like, it's a mixture of everything comes together. And as I said, for me personally, I don't mind it. If it's not metal, then that's how it is. Like, who cares about it? I enjoy the song. It's written, like you said, it's written metal, heavy metal, rock and roll. I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares about it?
Absolutely, makes sense. But next question is going to be, a hard one for some, and maybe not for you, but who knows? How about a favorite song? If you would have to pick just one from this record, which one would you outline?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one, I tell you.
For me, I think Gegen die Götter, I would pick that one. Because of the fact that we didn't put this out as a single. And for me, it's a little gem on it, on the record. And I'm looking forward to hearing about the reaction of fans. Of the reaction of the fans, who didn't see that as a single, but now getting the album, listening to it, hopefully feel the same about the song as me.
That's pretty cool. That's an interesting choice, actually. I'd say. And in terms of promotion for this album, anything planned already? Obviously the pandemic thing is killing everyone. But any plans on promoting this with live shows?
Yeah, unfortunately we had to postpone our headlining tour to spring 2021.
Okay.
And they had a lot of plans. We actually had already for this year, but I didn't even confirm it because we knew we had to postpone it.
Yeah.
So now we try to reschedule everything for next year. So 21, if everything goes back to acceptable or normal regarding touring, it's gonna be a touring year, definitely.
Nice. And it's support acts you can mention? Or nothing?
Sorry?
Any support acts that you can mention? Like a band?
On our headlining tour in mainly German-speaking part of Europe, it's going to be Nachtblut, friends of us. We already toured with them. You can hear Tetzel, the singer, on "Wat ist denn los mit dir?" It was on Apostasy. But the rest, I can't talk about it.
Okay,
right now.
yeah.
Keep my mouth shut.
Absolutely. Let's just hope that again the pandemic will be over and you'll be able to go on a regular concert without people standing 2 meters apart from each other, because this would be hardly a concert. I think.
There is hope. We played a festival just a few days ago.
Oh, really?
And they made a hygienic concept which allows people to really. I mean, of course, way less people than usual, but it allows people to really stand freely in the area, but they have to wear a mask. So I hope that's a good sign. Everything will at least go back to kind of normality.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's just pray for that. Okay, man. I'm conscious of your time, so just a couple more questions, and that's it. Number one is this something usual we do on this show, we're really eager to hear. Tell me one story, one crazy ass touring story from the touring days, right? I mean, one show that's stuck in your mind, or one memory that you cherish the most, or just some freaked up show or night on a tour.
The problem with those questions is always like, I think over the years, the threshold of what is weird or what is normal, changed a bit. If it comes to weird stuff, for example, try to get a crew member out of jail overnight.
Really?
So,
what happened?
to continue the tour. He was wearing a shirt which we didn't know in that country was like offensive.
Oh.
And he got arrested for that. Otherwise, a good experience was definitely for me the first time China tour we played. Didn't expect anything there, but it was just amazing going out, and it was packed full, and the people are really, really into it. You know, like really going for it, singing along, and going totally nuts. Like
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's crazy. And the last question then. What do you think is the most underrated Nachtblut song that you would really want to play more often live?
Ooh.
Out of the entire discography, obviously.
Underrated.
Yes. One of those rare titles, that you never play, but you kind of wish you would have time.
I think Schwarz would be cool to play live. We never did actually, so yeah, that would be a good one.
Alright, that's pretty cool. Why?
I like the structure of the song, and yeah, so now I'm thinking about it, we never play it live. Like, why not? Like now I want to play it live.
Yeah, maybe next time. I mean, finally, if you go on tour, I mean, this can be the resolution you make. Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Any last message for the fans? Anything you want to share with them?
Of course, the most famous last words of every band: listen to our record, enjoy it. And no, seriously, just stay safe and stay healthy.
Absolutely. And again, Nachtblut Vanitas is out tomorrow, October 2nd, via Napalm Records, so make sure you check it out. Skoll, thanks a lot for your time, man. I appreciate it, and good luck on the release, man.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah.